Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. My name is Scott Warner. Welcome to the Scott Warner Show. And today, in Season 1, Episode 1 of this podcast, there's a topic I want to talk about. And the topic is there's nothing wrong with you. Okay? And the reason why I want to talk about this is because I've been seeing a lot of adverts lately. I've been hearing a lot of people talk about this. And to me, I feel like it's kind of somebody trying to put their agenda in you. It's someone trying to have influence over you. I don't think you have to accept it. And the reason why that this is important is because everybody needs to have their own mental strength. Okay. So what I'm talking about is these ads. I'm seeing a lot of ads basically saying, hey, there's something wrong with you. You need to go and see a therapist. You need to go see a psychoanalyst. And then maybe it leads up to taking medication. And, I don't agree with a lot of that stuff. I think that is not the issue that you're having. If you're depressed, yeah, maybe something happened to you or you're quote unquote not happy. There's something you're doing wrong, but I don't think having somebody, you pay somebody hundreds of dollars an hour or whatever it is, or even a monthly, or just paying money to have somebody help you with this. I don't think that's really necessary. Maybe in extreme cases, I'm not saying this is totally not for everybody, but I think basically you can develop your own mental fortitude to where you'll be able to overcome whatever it is you're going through. Okay. Now, some people face depression. Why? Well, because they're not really doing much with their life, or they are doing something with their life, but they're too busy to do something that they really want to do, right? Maybe you're on the grind. Maybe you're working really hard. Maybe you're working 6 days a week. I used to work 6 days a week and 2 jobs at the same time. And then I was going to school. That was not easy, but guess what? I did it anyway, and I wasn't depressed. I was too busy to be depressed. Okay. So I'm just seeing a lot of advertisements for this recently, and it's like, why am I seeing these advertisements? And it's because I'm on the big platforms, and then they're showing that, right? Actually, now that I think about it, it's pretty much one platform. It's one of the platforms that owns 2 of them, right? You can figure that out later. Like, I'm not really trying to put any tech company on blast because, well, one, I use them. I'm not trying to get canceled, right? And because it's not really their fault, okay? That's like saying I'm going to blame this fast food joint because I'm fat and overweight, when take full responsibility, right? I'm more about, instead of giving the responsibility to somebody else to make you happy or to make you feel better, take that responsibility onto yourself. Acceptance, okay? I want you to think about accepting your fate, your future, your current, well, let's say it like this, your current situation. I want you to accept your current situation, okay? And that is the first start of healing, right? You can be a self-healer. You can heal yourself. And how I would say to do that? Well, what I did, because I always work on my mental health too. There's times where I'm depressed or sad, or, that's part of life, okay? Everybody goes to different extremes, and, maybe there are some extremes that I haven't been there, so I can't really talk about too much of that. As far as a severe trauma or a severe abuse, or, being sexually assaulted, or being, brutally beaten, or, emotionally abused forever and ever, then there might be something to be said about having professional help. But I think the majority of people, are not going to necessarily need that. And like I said, I'm not blaming the platforms, okay? It's people trying to make money, okay? If my product is selling to somebody that's got mental issues, I'm trying to make a profit. I'm going to advertise on the platforms, obviously the biggest platforms, because that's where the people are at, right? We're in a commercialized society, and it's okay. I'm not bashing capitalism or anything like that. That's a whole nother thing. But what I'm saying is, hey, this could be something that you want to consider. Is why even worry about what you can't control? Okay. And why are you going to put money in someone else's pocket for them to help you? That's what I'm saying. Take full responsibility. That'd be like my issue. My whole thing is like, if you take full responsibility, you're going to be ahead of the game a little bit. Okay. I like to listen to other people's stories. Okay. That can motivate me. I don't let someone's success story or rags to riches story or, zero to hero story. Those don't annoy me or make me mad. Those usually inspire me. Now, if it's not authentic, maybe I can feel it a little bit and I'm not, I mean, you can kind of tell if it's manufactured. There's some people out there. I mean, there's several of them out there that I've listened to them. I'm like, you know what? I'm not really buying it. It's more of entertainment, and I'm not really like taking it seriously. And I don't think they're actually really trying to help people. They're more self-serving. But sometimes just hearing someone's story can inspire you to do something better with your life. That's what it comes down to. All right. And, so that's kind of the topic I want to talk about today. Yes, this is my first podcast on this channel. I know this is a piano channel, or was. I mean, this is my first channel that I created when I was like, I must have been, well, if my brother was 14, I might have been like 17 years old or so when I created this. So that gives you an idea how old I am. Wink, wink. But basically that, I think I created it in around 2005, and my brother had a handheld recorder that he had gotten, and we were recording my little brother play piano, and then he'd record me playing the piano. So we uploaded some things on the piano, we got views, and it was fun, and it was a whole thing. YouTube in the very beginning was a amazing, different experience. It was the first place to upload videos. There kind of was no filter. There was nobody. I mean, you weren't gonna make money off it. That was not even a thing. It's just like, hey, I want to share this video. We're on the internet. We're bored. A lot of the internet in those days were young people. And I say young people, I mean under 18. That was a huge majority of a lot of people. I'm sure there's creepers on there, but put it this way: when I got on the internet when I was 10 years old, I was chatting in the AOL chat room, and I met a girl. She was 10 and I was 10. We exchanged addresses. I wrote her a letter, sent a photo. She responded, wrote a letter, sent me a photo. It was kind of a cute little thing. It was interesting. It was a new thing on the internet, and now it's like, I don't know if I can recommend doing that today because all the creepers and all those types of stories, all those type of things that you're gonna hear out there. Okay, so what I'd like to say is about the internet. Yeah, that's a whole spiel, a little off topic, I guess, but it's kind of just like to tell you how I got started on the internet, and this is something I do want to continue. I have another podcast that I do with a couple buddies. We've been doing that for about 2 weeks, and that's going really well. And I always kind of wanted to start my own podcast, kind of just to share my message in the world, to the world, and to you. And thank you for listening. And basically, I just want to help people. That's kind of my intention, is really just to help people. I mean, yeah, it would be great to be rich and famous, but is it really that great to be rich and famous? I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah, maybe you want the money so you can take care of your family, but the fame, I think I could live without the fame. I'm not really going after fame because you're kind of become a target, and there's this whole other thing. And then you got to be careful, right? So I'm not really trying to be that. I just think that I could genuinely help people. And I think this is a good platform to explore in that process. Because, I help a lot of my friends. I've helped people in my personal life on a daily basis, pretty much. And so that's something I like to do. And, that's part of what inspired me to do this podcast. And one, because for me, watching other podcasts or listening in audiobooks and books and going to events in person and learning from other people, that's actually part of the inspiration process where it's like, you know what? It is time I give back. And that's kind of like what this is about. It's like, I want to be able to give back some value to people. And, and hopefully you can agree with me that maybe I can help you out with something, or maybe I'll unlock your mind, create a new idea for you, or help you create the idea. Because, like I said, on the topic of, there's nothing wrong with you, I really believe that. There's nothing wrong with you inherently. And it's almost like, say you didn't do a workout, or you didn't do the chores, or you didn't go to work, or you have some excuse, right? There's always an excuse for something. There's always an excuse to not do something, and there's always an excuse to do something, right? So when it comes to excuses, I'd say, hey, there's always an excuse, right? Are you going to let that excuse have a certain level of priority or a certain impact on your decision currently and future decisions? That's why I'd say you kind of need to be careful on who you let into your life too. That's another thing. Because I hear people telling other people, oh yeah, some people do recommend therapy and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't some people think that it's like, oh, everybody needs therapy. But I think that type of therapy is not what you need. You do want a support group, and you do want good people around you. You want to be able to be yourself around people. I don't like to be around people that they're always trying to get me to change. And they're always calling me out on everything. that's not really what I'm looking for, and I don't think that's really healthy. I don't think that that's good, because then you might think, oh, there is something wrong with me, but it's like, no, there's nothing wrong with you, And like I said about the excuses thing, the roundabout about that is, it's like saying, well, I was born with, let's just say something extreme, like, oh, I only got one arm or something like that. It's like, well, you can let that be an excuse, or you can let that be a motivator and a driver to do something, right? Is it an excuse, or is it a driver to do something? That might be one way to word it. It's just like, you can overcome things. Excuse me. And, the idea that like these commercials are like, hey, there's something wrong with you. You know why? It's because they can make money with it. That's the whole thing. Like, maybe there's 10% of people, or maybe 1%. I can't even make up a number, maybe 50%, right? But I just know a lot of people watching that, they don't need that service in general anyway. And then the fact that I just know it's just about making money, but it's like, it comes to that whole thing is like, are we going to be making money? And that is what I disagree with. So when it comes down to, where, like, okay, have you ever watched like standard TV where you'll see a lot of commercials about depression pills and medication? It's like, that's what sells, because look, if I could convince you that you're depressed, if I could, or agree with you because you thought, oh, maybe I'm depressed, and then I'm telling you, hey, you are depressed. Here's this medication. You need to meet with this doctor. And then you're spending hundreds, thousands of dollars or whatever on treatment. And I'm telling you, like, that's not what you need. You need to just start getting around some good people that are saying, hey, go after your dreams. I support you. You're not crazy for trying it. That I think a lot of people, when they grow up, well, I can't say that because that's a little bit too broad and that's a little bit beyond my understanding. But I would say, like, for me, I can say, hey, I'm willing to take a leap of faith. I'm willing to go for what's hard. And I'd recommend you do that too. Why? Because there's a saying out there that says, if you take the easy route, you're going to have a hard life. If you take the hard route, later you will have an easy life. And I do believe that to an extent. It's like, do you create your own luck? The harder you work, the luckier you get. Those type of sayings are created from very successful people, and they're kind of ancient, I feel like. Like, the idea of them is really, really simple. They're not like an abstract idea. And usually good ideas are actually really that simple. Like, they don't need to be complicated. Like, I watched this thing the other day about Amazon, and, Jeff Bezos, the CEO, they got videos of him, like, back when Amazon started, and he's basically saying, hey, I want to focus on customer service. I want the customer experience to be the best there is. I'm not worried about a competitor. I'm not worried about some other business. I'm not worried about like the products I'm selling. Those are important, yes. And yeah, you do want, the thing is, you want to be more innovative than the competitor. You want them to be chasing after you. You want to dominate a space, okay? But basically what he's saying is, make the customer first, right? So why not just make you first? And not in a bad way. When you get on an airplane and you're going to fly somewhere, guess what they say? Hey, if we're in an emergency, oxygen mask comes down. Put it on yourself first before you help somebody else. Because if you don't help yourself first, how are you going to help somebody else? Right? And you know what? I don't want to tie into this now. If you're feeling bad, terrible, depressed, sad, anxious all the time, that's okay. Not a problem. Accept where you are, know where you're at. And maybe you're already on some type of medication. I got friends that were prescribed all kinds of things. And I'm a little bit older that I kind of miss that. Definitely, I will say teachers might, teachers do influence it. Because if they got a kid that's rowdy, they don't want to control it, him or her. You take that baby, that kid, and basically you say, hey, there's something wrong with them. They can't pay attention. They're not learning, whatever. Okay, so they send them to the doctor. The doctor gives them medication. Now the kid's super focused. So it's like that is a solution, right? I kind of don't like it because I feel like kids should be kids to an extent, but I'm not trying to go into that whole thing because, honestly, that's a little bit beyond me, and I could talk about it, but I'm not a professional in the space. So I know I do give respect to the professionals in the space still. But doesn't mean I shouldn't be able to critique it and criticize it. But I'm also saying, hey, I'm not credentialed to the level that they are. So, that's why, like, I'm not saying like they're never right or anything like that. I don't want to use absolutes. And if I do, I apologize. I'm trying to be a mediator in the sense, okay? But then the school's financing system, how they get financial aid, donations from the government, or however you look at it, if they have kids on these medications, the school gets more money. So it's whenever there's money involved, there's always this stigma, right? And that's why I'm willing to be wrong too, by the way, okay? I'm willing to be wrong, but my speculation is that if there's a money driver, the driver is money, or that becomes a driver, or there's money involved, that's that stigma. That's like, hey, well, the more kids they prescribe, the more money the school's getting. Now, does that mean they could if more money's coming in, we got to allocate that money somewhere? I know somebody that works for a school district, and all this extra money came in from the 2020 pandemic, okay? So they actually had to get rid of the money. Okay, let's give people raises. Let's give people more hours. They had to do something with the money. So they're basically paying it out. So what does that mean for executives? Well, we get a bigger bonus, right? So that's the whole thing. So it's like, okay, so you're getting more money because a kid's on medication, and then now you're getting a bigger bonus to buy a better car, or whatever. That's the whole thing. What I don't like. I feel like, and maybe the school system is not that far off, because think about it. The difference between a champion and a loser sometimes is less than 0.5%. What's the difference between a horse race? You got a horse track and horse races. The difference could be as simple as, hey, you're 1 hour, you're literally, okay, so there's a horse race going on, right? They go around in a circle, and a horse wins by a nose. So how much did he win by? A nose. But do you know what the prize difference is? 10 times the difference. Now, when I heard the story, because the numbers could be different now, but the story was, first prize was $75,000. Second prize, $7,500. So being 0.5% or a nose, right? Just a tad above, just a little bit above the second person. The difference in winnings was 10 times, right? So it does pay to be first, right? And that's why I encourage you to be first. And like I said, if you're having some of these symptoms, or you feel lethargic, you feel sad, you feel bad, there's other things you can do first before you need to do a professional help. And I would say consider doing those first if you can. I think that's like the roundabout what I want to get to. And, this is kind of a off the cuff. Like, I don't have no notes, I had the title and then like one point I wanted to say, okay? And I just really wanted to start doing these podcasts, okay? So like I said, I appreciate you coming here. And now that was a little bit of a rant, but, I'm just grateful. I'm actually just grateful for this opportunity to be here. I've worked really hard in my life to get where I'm at, but I don't want to have an ego too big to, be arrogant. You know what I mean? I'm trying to stay humble too, right? I think that's a big part of it. I'm not like trying to put anybody down, right? I'm not trying to like sit here on a high horse. I'm a guy behind the mic. You know what I mean? Like, anybody could do this. A lot of people have ideas like this. Like, there's probably, I don't know how many podcasts and how many people trying to put out content. There's millions, right? Millions. Okay. And I just believe that I have something important to say. Okay. And, if you're going through something like that, try some of this other stuff first. Or maybe I will write something down. Like, basically, I would say diet, exercise, and a morning routine. Okay. And the reason why I recommend these is because that's what I've done. And that's what's helped me. Okay. One, it gives you a reason to wake up in the morning. So you need a reason. So give yourself a reason to wake up. And right there is going to help half of you right there, probably. The next thing is show up, right? Which is kind of the same thing. You need to show up in your life, wake up. Now, I actually trained waking up one time. I was like, I need to start waking up at 5 a.m. every day. Bing, bing, bing. Well, I was normally waking up at 8. So I'm trying to no, I want to wake up at 5 now because I want to go to the gym. I want to do this workout. I had things I wanted to do. Okay. So I had dreams and goals. So you gotta want the change too, right? You got to want the change. So what I did was, okay, I set my alarm. Okay, so at night, at like say 9 o'clock at night. Okay, I gotta go to bed, and it actually might have been 10 o'clock, but that's besides the point. So say it's 6 a.m. What I did is I put my alarm for 7 minutes, and then I'm acting like I'm sleeping. I really was trying to sleep though. Like I went through the motions of like, okay, I'm gonna sleep, and I'm like sleeping on my back, everything off, lights off, everything. I'm resting. 7 minutes, alarm goes off. I hit snooze, and I think my snooze is 7 minutes or something like that. I hit snooze. I get up out of bed right away. I walk over to the bathroom because I walk down the hall. I walk to the bathroom. I turn on the cold water, splash my face 3 times, and then I act like I'm going to the bathroom. Lift the toilet seat up. Okay? And then I wash my hands. I don't even go to the bathroom, but I'm just going through the motion. I wash my hands, dry my hands, and then I go to and then I went to the kitchen and and drank a glass of water. Okay? And then that was like my routine. So I did that literally, and then I went back to the bed. Actually, I might not hit snooze. I went back to bed, hit a 7-minute timer again, and did the same thing. Lay back down. Okay, I did that like 7 times, 6 to 7 times. I don't remember exactly, but like I kept doing it. So what I was training was when I hear that alarm in the morning at 5 a.m. that I have to do that reaction. I just get up, boom, get up, go straight to the bathroom, splash my face with cold water, and then go to the bathroom because I know that's what I have to do. And after that, wash my hands, same thing, and then go and drink, 16 ounces of water, And just because I'm saying 16, some of the stuff, don't have to take it literally. Like, you could totally modify this and change it. The thing is like, you have to create your own routine. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, I don't want you to say, oh, I'm going to literally do what I do. I mean, you can, but don't make it flexible, right? And that's, like, the problem I have with, like, some of these advertisements that I'm saying. And granted, I haven't gone through a program or whatever, or like seen any of that, like what they're actually selling. But they're saying, oh, are you depressed? You need to have this. We got help, and blah blah blah. And I'm not saying like I said, they're in it to make money, right? I'm gonna do this as a free service. I'm telling you this for free, right? And I know this could help. Wake up, have a morning routine. It's very basic, very simple, right? And then I'll elaborate on that morning routine but the point is, what I'm saying is, you don't have to do exactly this. You want, and what I mean is I want you to take the power back to you. Take the power back within you. Take the power back within you. Because guess what? You are powerful. You are amazing. You are everything. You are the center of your own universe, of your own world, right? That is the ego. Being alive, you have an ego. And see, we all have an ego that we can, that we can go and take control over your own life. This is your life. This is your time. The time is now. And if not you, then who? And if not now, and then when, right? And even if you don't do this tomorrow, start making a plan. It takes about 21 days to make a habit anyway, right? It might take 3 weeks to really get into this. Like when I do a major diet change, it takes like 3 weeks to actually like get up into that zone, right? To where now it's easy. Now I'm not thinking about it. Now it's like clockwork, right? And I like to do automation stuff. And if I have time to talk about the diet, how I have it set up, which I think I might actually, I'll tell you about how I do my diet. Okay. So I want you to take the power back. That's the main thing. Take the power back. Don't give it to all these other people. And that maybe I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot a little bit by talking a lot of crap on that, or at least like kind of denying it, I should say. Because maybe it really can help. Maybe it can even help me still. Like, I'm open to that. Right. But I just feel like that shouldn't be your first line of defense anyway. I'm just gonna let me just tell you for free what to do and then try it out, right? I don't think you necessarily need to go let me go buy this thing, right? So I would say take the power back, and how we're gonna do that is, controlling your wake up time. Get up at a time that's reasonable. So you're not rushing to work, and like I said, don't make it doesn't have to be like exactly, because like when I'm talking about taking the control back, I'm talking about you figuring out and creating your own plan, your own morning routine for yourself. Capiche? Okay. So the idea is, and I usually go number 1 in the morning, right? It's just like, that's the thing. Okay. I'm pretty sure I'm not alone in that, right? And then you get some water in you. Okay. You're going to start. And then like what I usually like to do, go on a little walk. Put on some shoes, put on your clothes. If it's cold, put on some sweatpants and a jacket. Maybe wear a beanie. Whatever. Go walk around your block. If you got a treadmill, you can do that too. But I like walking outside. You might run into some neighbors. Now, granted, not everybody's up at 6:30 in the morning. That's usually when I do my walk, at 6:30 in the morning. And I like to go for 45 minutes. I do a 45-minute walk, okay? And I have a lot of factors and numbers and all this cool stuff I like to do. Like, I got this watch that like tracks everything, as far as my heart rate, my steps, so basically my mileage, my GPS tracking. So basically, I do 5,000 steps in the morning, okay? So 5,000 steps, and it's about 2.5 miles for me. So, and happens on my block. It's basically 3 laps. 3 laps technically is like 2.4 miles. So usually like at the end I do a little extra loop just like to get that 0.1 in there just to make it like 2.5. And now sometimes I've been going over. And this is just where I'm at right now. Like I would say just do, even if you did a 10-minute routine, it could make a world of difference, right? 15 minutes, do something like that. Like you got to start somewhere. But basically I like to have all these indicators and these factors because like, oh yeah, I'm doing this. But basically the idea is 45 minutes, right? I do like the time slot, the time constraints. I think that's like a great idea too. So so 45 minutes, I do at least 2.5 miles. But if I don't hit 2.5 miles, okay, fine. Or if I hit, like the other day, like I'm hitting 2.72, okay, on some days, because you got to listen to your body too, though, okay? And I'm going to call this my daily routine, okay? And the reason why I'm calling that is very specific, why I'm calling it a daily routine. So now we're taking it from morning routine to it's basically your daily routine. And your daily routine is consistent things you do daily, but not necessarily every single day, literally 7 days a week. Okay. Because generally like this walk, I usually do 4 days a week, actually. So my walk is 4 days a week. Okay. I take Wednesdays off. I do Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay. Saturday, I play roller outdoor park hockey. And like today we went, well, I know I burned 1,200 calories according to this. Okay. I don't know how accurate that is, but the point is I was moving for like 2.5 hours. I probably started skating at, let's just say 10:30, maybe a little bit earlier than that. 10:20, 10:30 is like when I have my skates on, I'm rolling. 10:30, we didn't stop till, at least 1:30. It was close to 2. It was like 1:45, we're done. Yeah, so it's probably like, let's just say 1:30, make it simple. That's like 3 hours. Yeah, I took a few breaks in between, maybe 20 minutes total or something like that. But yeah, because I think my watch is clocked about like 2.5 hours of like working out. So it's like, I'm not worried about getting my walk in that morning. You know what I mean? So you have to you got to be smart about it. A lot of times I think, dang, can I just do this 7 days a week? But I've also overtrained and I've gotten burnt out too. So that's why I would say it's okay to start very low. Like maybe say like, hey, for only 3 weeks, I'm just going to do 10 minutes a day, 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 15 minutes, something that is not that hard and that not going to change the thing is when I was talking about, well, I didn't really talk about the diet yet, but basically when I was telling you about, it takes 21 days to change a habit and it's okay to start really slow. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. It's also just making one little change at a time. So it's like an example would be well, you know what? I just wake up, I'm running out the door, I'm going to Starbucks, or maybe I'm not going to Starbucks, or, you're getting coffee, or you're doing some kind of booster to help you out. I'm like, you don't need any of that stuff, but I'm not saying I'm against all that stuff, because there's times when I have a coffee too. I'm not going to sit here and say, do everything perfect, especially in the beginning. But the idea is, can you work towards progression? Yes. And that's what I think you should consider going for. Why not go and try to obtain that perfection? Okay. So you have this, so basically what I'm saying is the little changes would be okay, go get a glass of water. It's go splash your face and get a glass of water. Or some of you, it might just be hey, can I wake up without hitting snooze? Or maybe it's you hit snooze 3 times. Okay, how about just hitting snooze 1 time? Maybe set your time later, right? It's these little minutes is what's going to add up. To pretty soon you're wow, now I'm waking up an hour before I got to leave the house. So now what can you do with this hour? Right? Now you got plenty of time to shower. You got plenty of time you could do a 30-minute walk, right? You can, if you eat breakfast in the morning, you could do that. Right now I'm only eating 1 meal a day. Basically I'm in about a 4-hour eating window, sometimes a little bit longer, sometimes a little bit shorter. Sometimes I'm in a 2-hour window, but usually I'm anywhere between 2 and 6, averaging about 4 hours. Okay. And what that means is my first meal might be at 2 p.m. and my last bite is say at 5:55, meaning at 6 p.m. Right. So it's like I'll eat between 2 and 6 p.m. And I'm not going to talk about exactly like how many calories I'm getting, but I'm definitely getting what I want, right? Basically, I think right now it's like I have to redo some numbers because I changed a minor thing. But it's basically like 2,000 calories, right? That's about what I'm at right now on daily. And those numbers, the calories, that's why I kind of want to bring it up, but because it's almost irrelevant to you, because the calories is something you got to figure out on your own. And, I know there's a lot of videos out there. I'm not going to say I'm an expert on this, but I just know it works for me. I look pretty good. You know what I mean? I'm pretty lean, and that's how that's how I like to look. Part of one of my routines is I basically do 200 push-ups, and then I'm going to be doing pull-ups and squats. I'm actually finishing building the gym in my house right now. I've been going to the gym for a year. Because I used to play a lot of hockey. I used to play like 5 days a week of hockey. I'm not even joking. Playing roller hockey indoor at the rink out here. But they shut down the rink Thanksgiving of 2021. Okay. So basically a year and like 2 months ago. So me and the boys and the guys, we just started playing out at the park, at this concrete park. So we just started playing there, start off at like twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week. And then like when summer came, it's kind of too hot, so we didn't play outside. And then now we're just consistently playing on Saturday. Okay. And then like I have another league coming up for outdoor roller hockey, and that's Friday and Monday I'm gonna be playing. So I'll be playing 3 days a week of hockey. So it's like, that's me taking control of my life, right? That's me saying, hey, I like this sport. I like to play. I like to be competitive. I like to have fun. I like to get a good cardio workout, and I like to have some technique and like to beat this other guy or have him beat me, and it's all fun both ways, Like you could find out what you want to do, right? And that's the whole thing. Like, but if you're not sure, just do some walking routines, right? You can start with walking. So basically, like what you're gonna eat and how many calories and stuff, that's gonna be determined on your lifestyle, right? And like, are you trying to cut weight? Are you trying to gain weight? Are you trying to maintain weight? Are you trying to go through major changes? Are you really trying to make a big difference in your life? And I encourage you to do that. But I also say, look, if you change just 0.5% a day, not even 1%, you just do 0.5% a day. If you actually calculate 0.5% compounded over a year, you're going to be a different person in 6, 7, 8 months, completely different. Your whole life's going to be completely different. And that's what I encourage you to kind of consider, is that it's the small changes, I'm telling you. It's these small changes, these extra seconds you're getting back, these minutes you're getting back, and you're putting those minutes towards something better. And I've all been there. I played video games for 16 hours a day before. You know what I mean? This 12 hours a day, 8 hours a day, even 4 hours a day. Like, that's a lot of time, And I'm not going to say I regret it, because what's the point of saying that? That's like saying an excuse. The past is past. It's already gone. I just watched this Lion King clip. Remember Lion King, the old cartoon, where, what is his name? Well, Simba is a lion, but I'm trying to think. It was the old man monkey, right? And the old man monkey hits him over the head and he says, ow, that hurt. And then Simba's like, ow, that hurt. And then monkey's like, why? It was in the past. But he's like, see, the past can hurt you, but don't let it hurt you. Meaning, like, it's like, oh no. And then he's like, and what have you learned from the past? And then he tries to hit him again, and then he ducks it, right? He dodges it. So it's like, see, he learned from the past. It's like, okay, watch out for the monkey's stick, right? That's a very rudimentary idea, but it's rudimentary and it's intelligent though, right? It's rudimentary in the sense of like, it's like, I like to say like it's ancient, like it's something that's probably been around, like those ideas have probably been around for a long time. Once people started, having conscious thought or whatever, or being able to make rational choices, like if evolution is true or not, I don't know. But if there was a time before we knew and now we know, it's like from the time that we know, this is something that being true. That's why I feel like it's like kind of like an ancient knowledge, it's just such a basal level of information, right? So the roundabout that is like, yeah, okay, the past can hurt, but don't let it define you. Keep on moving forward. So about the changes, right? So we have the daily routine, okay, and we're gonna figure out, okay, what can I do today that I didn't do yesterday? Because here's the thing, I'm not trying to I can't make anybody change. I could give you hope. And that's like part of my thing. It's like, I know I can give you hope and I give you some information that if you take this information and you utilize the information, you definitely can make a change in your life, right? And like I said, these 0.5% are going to compound daily. And here's another thing what I want you to do is don't beat yourself up. You are your own biggest critic. So why not actually, instead of critiquing yourself in a negative way, because you have constructive criticism on yourself. Hey, what can I do to be better? A reflection. Let's call it reflection. Because the person in the mirror, the man in the mirror, the woman in the mirror, that's you. You're the one. Only you can make the change. Only you can take full responsibility for the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent, and the great things that are going to happen in your life later once new opportunity opens up, because you're willing to take the chance now and make the changes. So just know that, like, I'm just trying to give you hope and information, okay? And I guess I should say this, I'm not claiming to be a medical doctor. I'm not claiming to be a lawyer, or, the basic disclaimer is like, do your own due diligence on this stuff too. You don't necessarily have to take my word for it. And I encourage you not to necessarily, but at the same time, I want you to try to make a difference in your life. I got loved ones in my life that, I'd like for them to do some of this stuff I'm telling you about. And I think it's easier for me to kind of do it in a video like this, because I'm not like saying, hey, you got to do this. Or, it's a different level of presentation when it's somebody and a loved one, and it's just a whole spiel, right? It's a whole different spiel. And this is something that I can help multiple people at the same time, because these ideas are really general, right? I feel like they can help anybody that's struggling, or that feels they're inadequate, or feels that, hey, I need help. This is a way for you to start the precursor things to help yourself. That way you can start on the path of creating your own destiny, because it is your destiny to live a great life. I really believe that. We are all magnificent beings. We are all sentient beings. We are all here for a reason, and maybe you have to create that reason for yourself. Maybe the reason is not going to be given to you. It's not going to, some psychiatrist can't tell you how you should live your life. They could give you ideas. And like I said, maybe I'm knocking them too much, but because they can help people, and I know they do, right? I'm just saying, I feel like some of the stuff I'm saying is what they're going to say, because you have to help yourself. Because I just know, I've tried to help people for, not forcing, but you just cannot change people, right? That's just not how it works. So I think about, I probably would have a fun time studying psychology today. I took a class, second semester of college, I think. Maybe it was second year, but second semester of college. And, I was taking psychology, learning a little bit about it, but I won't say I wasn't interested. I was more so, I was not a morning person at the time. So my class was at 7:30 in the morning. And I'm sorry, I slept in class a lot. And I ended up just dropping that class before it became on my record. So I dropped it pretty quick. So I didn't really learn the whole subject, I'm willing to admit my flaws or my mistakes. I'll say, yeah, it was a mistake. I should have been, I was just on the video games. I was just addicted to the video games. I just, so I just couldn't go to sleep without playing a game first. So it's I wasn't going to bed till 2 a.m. And if my class is 7:30, I mean, you already know that's a recipe for disaster. But here's the thing. My mom would still take me to school at 7 a.m. So I'm at school at 7 a.m., dead tired. I just eventually just gave up and said, can't do it. So, and you could blame me. I should have communicated it. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. That event didn't overall kill my success. Maybe it did hurt me a little bit. That information could have been useful to me. But I didn't, I didn't let that stop me. And that's kind of where I was saying, don't beat yourself up too much. You're your own biggest critic. Don't beat yourself up. You make a mistake. Who cares? Just let it go. Why get upset over it? There's just no reason to get upset over it. Let's just take it day by day, minute by minute, hour by hour. And let me tell you this. So today I was like, well, I got to do my first podcast. It's about time I do it. But I've been thinking that for a few weeks. So I was like, it just needs to happen now. Okay. And I decided 15 minutes before I started this cast, well, like say at 6:45 p.m., I was like, I am going to do this cast at 7. I just decided that. And when I decided that, I made it happen. And I had to do a little bit of setup work. It probably took, actually, like I'm looking at the time here, it probably took about like an extra 30 minutes from that decision actually to go live, which actually is not bad. I thought I'd go live in 15, but I was like, okay, it took 30, but whatever. The thing is, I know that if I don't do this, then when am I going to do it? Right? In other words, and I want to say like how you feel in the morning is not going to be how you feel at the evening. So be careful when you say things like, oh, I feel like crap today. I'm not going to do what I need to do later. Right? That's a dangerous formula. That's a dangerous thought because you're not giving credit to yourself. It's dangerous because who's to say that you're going to feel a certain way at 7 p.m. when it's only 4 p.m., right? You go through levels of energy and like, look, so when you eat your meal, have you ever ate a meal and you like was so lethargic and you fell asleep and you're tired and you couldn't move? So with me, after doing 3 hours of hockey, right? Burning 1,200 calories, and I'm only on like a 2,000 calorie diet right now. I was out of energy quick. My legs were sore going into it because of all these squats I've been doing, and so it's like I was not even 100% going into the thing, but I'm going in anyway, right? And like I felt like, oh, I could just sleep it off. I could go do something else. I was thinking of, walking downtown or whatever, but something hit me. I said, you know what? Now is the time I have to do this. I've been doing the podcast with my buddies. We're doing it Tuesday. We were doing it Tuesday and Thursday, but I told them, hey, let's just do one day a week on the group podcast because I'm really, like, the whole point was I'm really trying to get my own podcast going, and that's what I'm doing right now. But, like, I was, what was I going to say? Like, it was my idea to like just start a podcast anyway. I brought all my equipment to my friend's house. I was like, yeah, heck, let's do this podcast. This is what I want to do. And he's like, yeah, let's just do it right now. And then like, but he already had a computer because he is a broadcaster, right? So I just connected my mics to his, and like we ended up doing like a three people, podcast. So like that's just how it starts. Like we just did it. But it's like, and then I left the mics at his house. Like, oh yeah, we'll just do it twice a week. And then like, so it's like, and it's good. It's a great podcast. But I'm just saying like. I wanted to be able to do my own, and like I would like to have a guest here one day. I just want to kind of like get the ball rolling for myself. Get a little bit of get some listeners. I have no problem with that. Or the thing is, I'm gonna put this on. It's gonna be on the networks. Because I want to put on YouTube, Spotify, of course, and what else is out there. I know there's like the main ones that I want to put it out there, and then maybe have my own website or whatever. Scottwarner.org is basically the website I have now. It's not really like optimized or anything like that, but you can follow me on Instagram if you wanted, at scottwarner_. That's what we're using. That's what I'm using right now anyway. So it could be different by the time you watch this video, who knows, but I mean, links will be in the description, if you want to tune in more. But I'm not really worried about all that too much right now. I'm mostly about getting a positive message out there, which is what I'm really trying to do right now, and maybe you're not, I just thought of this because, you might be at work listening to this. You might be on a commute, on driving, just take mental notes, like, let me tell you like the basic concepts that I was basically trying to get across, in this video is, create a daily routine, a daily morning routine, something simple, do it within an hour, within half hour, whatever, basically. Wake up, get some water, go on a walk. And that's like if you have zero exercise, to start doing that. Like, and you don't need a gym membership. You just need a pair of shoes. You can even walk in sandals. I don't care. You can walk barefoot if you're compelled to do so. Drink some water, and then just start making the best of it. And I guess if you're driving or whatever, like I don't, I hope this is enlightening to you. And I hope this is still opening your mind to what's possible. because I could tell you just years ago, I had never expected me to be where I'm at right now in life. And it's a blessing. It's a wonderful thing. I'm very grateful and humble and happy to have made it this far and still have great health. I had a old buddy die last year. He was only 36 years old. He had 2 kids. Him and his girlfriend at the time, I believe. I'm actually not sure. I'm not going to say I was like really, really close to him in adult life, but growing up, we had a lot of fun together and a lot of cool memories. I even have a scar from him, like down here, where like he cut me with a tree, and when we were Boy Scouts and stuff, he cut me with a tree twig, like we're like playing sword fight or whatever, and like I got cut like right, and he just like it was just a superficial wound, but it just got me real good. It just got me in a way where it left a scar. Yeah, old buddy, R.I.P. man, and he was a great guy. Lived his life to the fullest for sure. But just like the accident, if you want curious about the accident, I don't really want to like say his name or like put any burden on his family, you know what I mean? But, or just, it's just not my business to really, say, but basically, the car got out of control, a single vehicular crash. There was no alcohol involved or anything like that. They just like lost control of the vehicle, probably going a little too fast maybe. And then they went down a ditch and, lights out type of thing. So it's like, that's what I mean. Like, that's a story, right? That inspires me. Like, he can't be here right now doing a cast. He can't be here trying to help somebody. It's like, it's too late for him. And I don't know how much time I have, and I got loved ones in my family and people that I love and that I respect and that I want to help too. And people, those of you that I don't know, I appreciate you, because maybe one day we will get to meet, and I'd love to hear your story, and that's just where my mind is right now. I'm in that giving back mode, and, I know time is limited, I'm 36 years old. How much time do I have left? I'd love to say I have 100 years. I'd love to say I have 200 years. The thing is, we don't know what's after. Some of us do, I'm not going to say everybody, I'm not going to this is about me, right? My belief in this moment, right? I'm not going to sit here and say that I know 100% for sure, but I just know the life now that I have is I have to make the best of it. And that's tying into what I'm talking about too. Make the best of it. There's nothing wrong with you, right? You are created with greatness inside you. You are connected to everybody in the world, and maybe universe. I don't know, right? But I've definitely had some experiences where I felt so connected to everybody, to everything, that I don't want to live my life taking things for granted. I have a voice. I can talk. I'm in good health. I think I'm relatively, decent looking, I hope. Yeah, I don't really have hair, but okay. Grass don't grow on a busy street, as my dad says, because he don't have hair either. So, and that it's all physical things. So I'm saying I'm grateful for the physical things, what I mean? But there's people that, and you could say successful money wise, that are like immensely way higher than me. And like there's a guy out there, I probably would say his name if I knew it, but he has no arms and no legs. He has like a little thumb thing for his leg, and you might have seen him. That's just one example of someone, and I seen him on stage like doing a TED talk, in a video. So it's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you're at physically. Also, like if your mind's there, and even if your mind is not, all there, like if you're going through some blunt trauma, maybe you got in an accident and you're trying to heal through that, like, I commend you. That's something that's really hard to explain to other people. It's hard for other people to understand a head injury. Your brain is like butter, like butter, like at room temperature, like you could just kind of stick your finger in and smash. Like it's real easy to smash, and damage it, and you can lose a lot of neurons. And neurons are the connections in the brain. Where think of it like it's a big spider web, and normally like, okay, you're able to go back and forth like this, with the connections. But like if you sever one side because it got hit and it got smashed, and the axioms and the neural network got destroyed in that area, so now the path has to go around it. So it's like a longer path for you to think and to feel and to express your emotions, and and just something that was very easy and not taken for granted. But I mean, if you have it, you're using it, right? And then when you lose it, it's like, well, now you don't have it, And it's real sad to watch people go through some of that trauma that, and maybe they're not thinking right, or maybe, it's just, it's sad. So it's like, I'm in a sound mind. I'm in a good body. I have no complaints. I shouldn't have any complaints. Yeah, I have problems in my life, but I'm solving them actively, right? I'm taking control of them, right? Um, I'm prone to the humans, right? To the human emotions, right? Just like anybody. Like I saw a video of a celebrity the other day, and she was like drunk and like, slurring and all this and that. But it's like she's just trying to, well, I'm not saying what she was trying to try not to do, but the thing is, they're normal people too. Like, we put people on pedestals, and you want to be careful, like idling, you know, people like in that sense. Learn from them and get inspired by them. Maybe I think she might have been a musician. I don't remember actually, or an actor, but some mega stratospheric levels of success. But at the end of the day, they just want to like live a life too. So that's why, like in the beginning of this, like talking about fame and stuff, like fame is like another level of responsibility. That's something I can't say I understand. Imagine trying to just go to the grocery store, like you have to wear sunglasses this big and wear a hoodie and like trying to hide yourself all the time everywhere you go. Like, I mean, I feel sorry for him because you don't want to have to be like a recluse in your life either. So like if I ever were to meet a celebrity, I respect them, as a person. I don't try to go out of my way to, or make them go out of their way for me. Does that make sense? I'm not trying to make them go out of their way for me just because they're a celebrity, and because they just want to, they have their own wants and desires. I don't want to say what they want or whatever, because everyone wants something different maybe. But I could just say for me, what I would say is like, I just want some peace. Like, so if I did meet somebody that, that I didn't know, but they knew me from a video or something like that online, I would hope that it'd be a pleasant experience for both of us. Why not? And if I ever get to the point where there's 1,000 people and I just, you just literally can't talk to them all, because then there becomes a point where you just literally can't do it. Then like you got to be on stage talking to people. And I have spoken on stage before. I've been on stage in front of, I think it was like, I don't know if they said 3,000 tickets were sold, but I think it was something like 2,200, 2,500 people were actually there. And yeah, I had an opportunity to speak on stage, share a little bit of my story, and what an amazing experience. And one of the leaders up there, he told me, he's like, look, you have an important story to tell, and people need to hear it. And part of me getting behind this mic is telling my story, telling my experiences, and because I have a belief that I can help people, I have a belief in myself. And you know what? That did take work, but it wasn't because I was sad or depressed or whatever. Like, it might have looked that way, but it's because I was unmotivated. And then you have to realize that motivation comes from yourself. It's you have to be able to be the source of inner ambition. I wrote that line down like over 10 years ago now. I can't believe it's been that long, but I says, you need to have an endless source of inner ambition. And I actually wrote 5 points. I can only remember the first one. I have that paper probably somewhere, but it was like these ideas that I wanted to live by, and, an endless source of inner ambition. Right. And that's basically for me, it's like, go after your dreams. But be motivated yourself. You don't want to have an external motivator. You want to be in control of it. That's the whole thing of why I'm saying, look, you don't have to take medication. You don't have to tell somebody doesn't need to tell you what to do. Like they're going to be people like me though, right? I'm not alone in this space of like, let me try to help people, right? In that sense, there's a lot of people doing it. And I've listened to a lot of that stuff. I mean, I still listen to stuff like this. I enjoy this type of content. So naturally, I'm going to want to deliver that type of content, because I ingest that stuff. I chew it up. I swallow it. I eat it. Whatever, it's all about food, I guess. I absorb it. I take it into my life when I can, and I'm happy for it. I'm and here's the thing. You don't need to be happy to do some of this stuff. It's just like, I was like, oh, I want to do this podcast tonight. I really want to teach some people. I really want to get this message across. And I was like, I'm going to do it anyway. Right? Regardless. And now this is me going to hold myself accountable, right? That I did this at Saturday at 7 p.m., right? Was my goal. I'm going to try to keep that, right? And the thing is about, I can make the decision now, say I'm going to do it 100%, but usually like it's like I'm not going to fully commit to the time yet, but I'm thinking that this might be a good time for me, because guess what? I still did it. During the week I am pretty busy, I am a working man. And I do a lot of workouts throughout the week and stuff, so I am kind of tired doesn't mean I won't do it the weekend. Like I said, I have the Tuesday podcast. It's just like when I'm talking about change, I just don't want to overcommit. Now, there's a whole argument about like success, like, oh, I want you to overcommit and overdeliver, right? But I found that when I've done stuff like that, I've kind of went a little too far because I'm kind of an all-out guy. I'm a 100% guy, you know, and I'm just being real about it, you know. But I think at least doing this weekly is definitely a goal of mine. Maybe it's going to be Saturday at this time or not, and I'm not as worried about the whole live feed, more so about getting the message across, getting it out there like I want it to, and you know, that pretty much sums up kind of what I wanted to talk about today. And yeah, the Scott Warner Show. We have scottwarner.org, or maybe scottwarnershow.com goes to the same .org website. You know, there's not really a big thing on the websites right now, but you know where to find me if you want. I'll have links in the description. And if you'd like to have a dialogue or a discussion, maybe you want to come on the podcast, I encourage you to reach out, you know, and we can do a virtual podcast. And like, if you do reach out to me like that, and you're a content creator, or you'd love to do something like this, like a collaboration, definitely I can show you some of the other podcasts that I've done. And, you know, I mean, if, you know, something can be worked out. I'll show you some other sources, some other things of me, and, you know, we'll just talk about it, have a casual conversation. That's kind of like how I like to do this. It's a little bit unusual to kind of, like right now, having a conversation with myself. I'm trying to like imagine you out there, like somebody out there, you know, and like I'm talking to you, but it's nice to kind of have a dialogue, you know, and have like two different points of view. But the reason why I also want to have like my own cast is because you can kind of like see my demeanor, how I am by myself, right? So it's like, this is kind of like, I know it's not the same having somebody, but it's like you kind of see like what type of ideas I like to talk about, what type of basically content you can see that I like. And that's why I'm going to be doing the solo cast for a while until, you know, I get a few guests. Because I already got people that would come on the show that are interested, but I was like, hey, let me just do my own thing for a little bit just to kind of, you know, get the ball rolling. Because it's not particularly easy to sit here and just talk about ideas without having like that dialogue. Like, so, I mean, it's definitely not for everybody, but, you know, I'm just giving you like a little feedback on just me personally, like, because I would encourage anybody to start a podcast. Why not? You know, because you have something important to say, right? You have some bigger purpose in life, and we can go and do it together. We can help each other out. There's nothing wrong with supporting a fellow human being. And it might be as simple as saying, hey, how you doing? Hope you're doing great. And like genuinely meaning it, you know, that's, you know, in America, that's how we talk. It's like, hey, how you doing? All right. You know, we're an interesting society. We got a lot of different cultures. It's a melting pot of people. And, you know, what can I say? I love it here because I've created my life here, right? If I was somewhere else, I don't know if I could say the same thing, but I'd hope that I could. And if you're from somewhere around the world, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. And until next time, you know, subscribe, like, comment, share. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Did I hit home with any points? Did I make you open your mind? And I know I'm not the best communicator right now. I'm working on actively improving that myself. I know there's a lot of ums and stuff like that and stutters, and, you know, I'm not worried about that. I'm accepting the flaws. But I'm also going to accept the greatness and the good that could come from this. So, I appreciate you coming out here, and we'll see you on the next podcast. Thank you. Scott Warner out.